Let's talk power issues for a moment. Eskom planning to ramp up, can you believe it, planned power cuts. I thought we were in spring and summer. This is supposed to go down, but here we are. According to the Minister of Electricity, Kgosientsho Ramokgopa, the deliberate outages are attributed to the increased planned maintenance. If you take a look top right-hand side of your screen, we are currently stage 4, back into stage 5 a little bit later. So Eskom announcing over the weekend that we are going to be in increased stages of the blackouts. Let's now hear from energy expert. It's Tshepo Kgadima making time for us this morning. Tshepo, morning to you. Stage 5. Do you think we're going to go back into stage 6? Is this as bad as it's going to get, or do you think it could get worse?
We are certainly headed that way. It's going to get worse, unfortunately. And the cop-out that they have to cut down the power supply in order to ramp up maintenance, it's an absurdity to say the least. Because in all the years that Eskom has been spending billions of rands in purported plant maintenance, we have never seen reliability of such maintenance, whereby the OEMs at one time were told they will come in to do the maintenance because it's their plant after all. Well, that plan was abandoned, and now the contractor, the private contractors appear to be the ones that continue to do the maintenance. But that itself hasn't borne any fruit. But the cost to the economy, it's unimaginable, as well as the cost to Eskom itself. It should therefore not surprise us that as of today, Eskom is yet to release its audited financial statements. And I don't think that they will do so because the amount of bailouts that they will require from National Treasury are going to lead to the very same situation we see now manifesting, that government has practically run out of money because it becomes a bottomless pit.
I want to ask you about the BRICS agreements on the sidelines of BRICS for this year, those agreements signed with Chinese companies. I'll get there in a moment, though. Tshepo, I want to ask you this. I'm a little confused because if we're coming into spring and summer, you would expect there to be less demand on the grid. I think that goes without saying. So even if there was planned maintenance, wouldn't that planned maintenance is not supposed to take us into higher levels of load shedding because we're using less power as a country? Therefore, if there was planned maintenance, we shouldn't have to jump up 2 or 3 stages of the blackouts. We're using less, so even if there's planned blackouts, it shouldn't be in stage 5. Or have I not understood how the minister is explaining this?
Yeah, well, look, the question that Eskom has not been able to answer, and it's an untenable situation that we have Minister of Electricity being the chief spokesperson for Eskom and also being the chief procurement officer for Eskom. The situation must be, it must worry all of us. So the demand, the nominal demand in the country at any one point in time, you should plan for about 30,000 megawatts at the very most. That is the demand. Now, Eskom is not able to actually, even when they're talking about planned maintenance, to bring that operating capacity to the 30,000 megawatts, which will be the nominal demand in the country. So you are quite correct that as we head into the warmer periods, we will see lesser demand during peak hour, which will be from 4 p.m. until 10 p.m. and in the mornings from effectively 5 a.m. until around 9 a.m. Those are the peak periods. But during those peak periods, we now know, as a matter of fact, that the demand will be around 30,000 megawatts. And that's what Eskom should have been planning for. So the so-called emergency reserves is also a misnomer because we've seen them adopting a policy of using diesel, which is very costly, as a baseload power supply instead of being an emergency supply situation. And an emergency supply, meaning the diesel generators, the OCGTs as they call them, those should have been used only in very limited circumstances of emergencies. By and large, Eskom should have been able to produce 30,000 megawatts because they do have the plant capacity to that effect. So when they say, well, we are going to ramp up plant maintenance in order to ensure that the system will become reliable at a particular point in time, they are not telling us that, well, how many megawatt hours will this actually result in? And also, what will be the generating capacity, the optimal generating capacity? And the reason for that is because they don't know.
Yeah.